Hey guys, it's Ryan here with HobbiesofaMan. Once again, and today we're going to be talking about the third episode of The Wheel of Time Season 2. This is What Talk Episode 3. Overall, I really like this episode. I think that Nynaeve is one of my favorite characters so far. And I liked the way that they treated her here. She was treated very well. She was well established. Zoe Robbins, or Williams? I don't remember the name of the actress, but apparently she used to be on Power Rangers. She was one of the main Power Rangers in a season that came out, a few years ago. And I watched some clips. She was pretty bad, because Power Rangers isn't really like the best thing ever. But she killed it in these episodes so far. And she's actually been really, really good as Nynaeve in general. And it's amazing. She does great. And I'm very happy to see her get the ability to try out her acting the way that she does. So yeah, so this episode starts with Nynaeve taking her accepted test. She gets an explanation and the whole spiel about the way only comes once, blah 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 blah, the whole thing, and she steps through and she has a vision of her parents, and this is kind of sad. It really sucks. I think it's actually a little bit different from the books. I'm not really sure that the situation is the same, because I remember that her backstory in the show is different from the books, but I don't remember how different it is. I think in the book, the past situation that she encounters is dealing with one of these Forsaken that they meet at the Eye of the World. Either way, I think this works well, and this is a change that matches, that is consistent with a previous change that has been done for Nynaeve. So I don't like the change, but I think they handled the change well, and I like that there's internal consistency within this show. So overall, it's a positive, I think. Then she comes out. She is cleansed. She is unceremoniously dumped with water, cold water, and then she steps through to the second one. She sees her present, or a version of the present, and basically it turns out that Natty Cawthon has taken over being the wisdom at home. There's a big, COVID situation going through the two rivers, and everyone is dying. And the only thing that Natty Cawthon can do is give them Crimson Thorn Root, which is the same thing that we've seen throughout these last few episodes, which can ease their pain but also kill them. And so what she's doing is trying to kill them. And Nynaeve interacts with Tam, with Rand's dad, and she tries to heal him, but she can't channel at all because she's bad at channeling. And so Tam takes her hand and just tries to comfort her a little bit, and asks her to stay with him through his passing, but also asks her to take care of Rand. And so she promises, but she manages to step back when she needs to, and she is cleansed once more. Then she goes into the third task. She ends up in a red dress. There's flashes of situations happening behind her. I don't know what happened. I didn't care enough to pause and look through it, but I've heard that there was some interesting stuff in there. I just didn't really care to find it myself. But apparently there's some stuff there if you're willing to look for it. So that's pretty cool. Then she comes out. She sees the the leather thong thing that Lan uses to hold his hair back in her hands, bloody, and she is upset at what she thinks the test is, which is a way of preparing her to leave all the people she cares about behind. And so she gets upset. She says, I completed this test, but I don't care. I'm leaving. She leaves. Then she leaves the tower completely. I think Egwene sees her before they leave. She leaves, and then she bumps into Lan, and then they go off to live in the Two Rivers. At some point, the gateway starts to open, but it disappears before it fully forms. And so Nynaeve ignores it. She goes on to live at the Two Rivers with Lan. Time passes. They have a child. Rand and Egwene are away. I think Rand is still dead in this version of the story. And Matt is now some sort of lordling. He has, nice clothing. And Perrin lives at the town with them. And he is a nice uncle to Nynaeve's daughter, Elnor. And then something happens they get information sent to them, and turns out the Trollocs are on their way. And so eventually Trollocs attack, kill everyone that she loves, and so she channels once again. She steps back through the arches, and she is comforted by Egwene when she comes out. And so that's kind of what Nynaeve is doing in this episode. When it comes to other characters, Perrin and the Shinarians are meeting the Shanchan, a noble lady who has a American accent. I think they're supposed to be Texan, but only the speaker, the voice, sounded Texan to me. She had a very subtle, like high class, like country accent, if that makes sense. Most people that I know that are from Texas don't really have accents like that. But you know, you do find some of them here and there in certain regions of the state, and you know, their accents are actually pretty nice. I like them, but I'm also from Texas, so you know, I have a lot of exposure to accents like that. But I like it. I think it worked out well. What happens is that they're told to bend the knee. Uno decides not to, and so Uno is shoved through a spike and killed. A very you know, Eddard Stark kind of way, like very Game of Thronesy, and I like that. I thought that was nice. It does really good to do that. And then Perrin is then taken away because Ishamael, who is with the Shanchan, shows some interest in him and is trying to get Perrin to fall to the dark side, basically. Then moving on to another storyline, we get to see Rand and Logain chatting. Logain wants Rand to get him a bottle of Geldian wine, and I'm guessing Geldians are Spaniards in this version of the story. You know, I would definitely say that like Amador or Amadicia, I think, would be more like Spain, at least in the story. But you know, if Logain is Álvaro Morte, and Álvaro Morte is a very well-known Spanish actor, I would assume that all the other Geldians would also be Spanish, but I'm not really sure. I think that would be good though. And he wants a specific bottle of red wine from his country, but there's no way that Rand's gonna get it. So he tries to talk to Selene. Then she manages to infiltrate them into a high-class party where Rand gets to wear his nice coat from one of the covers. Then they try to play the game of houses with him, and he kind of ignores it. He throws away the invitations, and he actually leaves as soon as Selene gets him the wine, because he realizes that no one here actually cares about him and cares about anyone except themselves. And so he realizes that Selene is probably one of these people, since she's also from Cairhien. And so he's a little bit upset, and he leaves her. And this unleashes Selene's Lanfearness just a little bit. So when he comes back later, she tries to murder him. And a lot of people say that this scene where she's trying to murder him and then forces him to channel happens in their dreams. If that is the case, they did a bad job at portraying that. Yes, there's inconsistencies that are very easily noticeable, but a lot of people that watch TV are willing to let those kind of situations not bother them, because ultimately they don't really care about, you know, how everything looks necessarily. They care about the story making sense. And the situation with Lanfear and Rand, between those two scenes, before he channels and after he channels, don't necessarily break the flow. So if it's supposed to be a dream, they did a bad job conveying that. Even if there are clear ways of explaining, hey, this is a dream because he's wearing this shirt here and this shirt here. And obviously that sort of situation wouldn't happen unless it's deliberate, but also it can definitely happen without being deliberate. And so a lot of people are probably going to have that wash over them, and they're going to not catch it. And so it's very difficult to understand what's happening if you're not clearly delineating it. I would have really liked to see a little bit of a haze to things during that situation, because there is that, but only when Rand is channeling. And so it looks like the haze is due to him channeling, not to the fact that they're in a dream, right? So I would like to have more clarification about that just a little bit, right? So yeah. Then there's another story here where Liandrin releases Matt because, you know, she has no use for him. She's actually upset at the death of Nynaeve, or the supposed death of Nynaeve during this episode. And so she releases Matt. She tells him, hey, no one cares about you. Everyone thinks that you betrayed them, and you probably did. So, you know, you should go talk to Egwene. And of course, that's all manipulation. So he doesn't do that. and so he leaves. He gets it with Min, and they leave. And it turns out that Min is actually currently working for Leandrin, which is a big change from the books, but there's also a big change with Leandrin. And so I think it works because it makes Leandrin a better character and also makes Min have a reason to move around and not stay friends with Egwene and Elaine at the tower. But also that kind of makes it a situation where you're kind of going too far away from the book. So I'm not really sure how I feel about it, but for the character, or for the story that's happening in the chapter or in the episode, it works well. And then the Egwene and Elaine storyline is that they're told that Nynaeve is dead. Egwene is angry and sad and tries to open the arches by herself. Elaine, very attached to Egwene now, goes up to her, tries to talk her out of it, tries to help her, and then decides to bring blankets and pillows so that they can sleep in the chamber, hoping that soon Nynaeve returns and that they'll be there for her when she does. And so that's what they do, and it works out pretty well. Although I really would have wished that they had a scene or two extra of them waiting patiently at the gate or trying to open the gate before Nynaeve bursted out, because so far it just feels like they like hung out there for like a few minutes and then Nynaeve stepped out. And if that was the case, maybe just have them keep arguing while that's happening. Whereas it might have been, that would have looked better than what they did, unless they added those extra scenes that I wanted, right? So yeah. And yeah, that's basically it. A very good episode. I really, really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. I really liked the storytelling aspect of Nynaeve's visions, I guess. I liked the accepted test a lot. I'm curious to see if anyone else is going to take it this season. I'm curious to see if there's going to be more development of the relationship between Nynaeve and Elaine, because it's a relationship that becomes relatively important here soon in some of the plot points that happen later. And overall, I'm very curious to see if Moraine's going to show up this season, because we're almost halfway through and she hasn't yet. And, she has to get the girls sent out into the world to track the Black Aja. So I'm not really sure, but overall I liked it. I had a lot of fun with this episode. It's probably my favorite episode of the three. I'm not really sure. I really enjoyed the second one. But this focuses mostly on Nynaeve, and I really like that. So I'm not really sure, but overall, really, really good stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you did. Please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know your thought. And thank you guys so much for watching, and see you guys later.